Welcome back. All right, so news of the day video for all you fine people on the internet for it's Wednesday, right? All the days are kind of the same now. So the KHL is shut down until January 22nd due to numerous outbreaks around the league. Now, where this gets interesting is the NHL is not going to the Olympics. So a lot of the players that you would see at the Olympics will come from junior age European leagues, including the KHL. So with the KHL shut down, what does this mean for some of these Olympic teams? Are there going to be players who can't be at the Olympics because they're dealing with this? What's going to happen? And so they're shut down until January 22nd. So that's a 10-day period. They'll shut everything down, and then they'll start her back up and keep their fingers crossed from there. I haven't seen anything about that shortening their season necessarily, but it's definitely a bit of a wrinkle for the KHL, just showing that there are other leagues as well that are dealing with this. As I stated in the video the other day, there's 15 WHL teams that got shut down too. All right, interesting quote from Rod Brindamore. Sarah Siv reporting this, Sarah Sivian, that he basically makes a statement like, well, yeah, they give it to whichever coach is leading at the break, or I think they went by points percentage, but he says, who cares who's coaching the All-Star game? Basically doesn't care. So they ask him about, how do you feel about coaching the All-Star game? And his response is as raw as it gets of, I don't care. Basically, he is that single-minded towards the Carolina Hurricanes that he doesn't really care about the All-Star game, all of that. So yeah, that's the excitement level for the All-Star game and the All-Star weekend. Doesn't that just make you excited for a tournament that doesn't really matter? And that's basically it. All-Star weekend's always been kind of a confounding thing for the National Hockey League. They like to have this showcase, and it's a big skills competition, and it's this great highlight reel you get out of it. But the game itself is kind of boring, and the players don't make the same level of effort as they do, especially defensively. There's no defensively in the game. And it's all just sort of a whatever, and it doesn't really matter. So it's one of those oddities to me with the NHL. And even though we didn't have an All-Star game last year, does that build a bunch of excitement for this year? Not really, no. I think players like being named to the All-Star game. I think it's flattering, but I don't think anybody really goes out of their way to say, well, I was going to watch that game tonight. But, the All-Star weekend's coming up, and I'm really going to want to put my focus on that. So anyways, yeah, there you go. I don't believe I've ever reviewed an All-Star game. I mean, it's possible, but I don't think I ever have. Because it's what is there to review? Anyways, out of the All-Star game talk with coaches and into a player who very likely represents his team at the All-Star game next month. Kirill the Thrill will return to action for the Minnesota Wild on Friday against the Ducks. He was on the ice at practice today. Jesse Pierce took a picture and posted it on Twitter just to prove he was there. And so, yeah, Kaprizov will return Friday against the Ducks, which is better than one might have thought when you saw that hit initially from Trent Frederick. So good to see that Kaprizov will be back. He'll be in the lineup. It makes a huge difference for the Minnesota Wild when he's out there. Buffalo. So I have to say, if you've ever played goal, maybe give them a call. If you're good in beer league, if you've played some junior A, junior B, if you've seen hockey gear. So Subban got injured during last night's game. People are pinpointing when Maroon kind of ran the net. He's month to month with an upper body injury, so that doesn't sound great. Tokarski, he had COVID, went into protocol on December 2nd. He is still dealing with, it sounds like he's dealing with long-term COVID. It may be an issue with his stamina, and he may not have the ability to play a game right now. So he's still in limbo, and they're saying week to week, but that's whenever, right? Brandon Sutter of the Canucks, it's been all season for him, and there's some debate as to whether or not he's going to come back. Luukkonen is week to week with a lower body injury that knocked him out of that game last night too. So Tampa Bay did some damage to Buffalo, not just with the 6-1 win, but with knocking out both goalies. Craig Anderson, upper body injury, he's month to month. And once a goaltender's over the age of 40, you just never know how long those injuries are going to linger. Trust me, once you're over 40, those injuries can absolutely linger. So they've recalled Dell And they've signed Hauser. So remember Hauser being a good story last year? Yeah, they've signed him. So that's probably going to be their tandem, I guess, with 4 goalies out. This was a team that at the start of the year we discussed their goaltending and how it looked kind of patchwork. Now it really is patchwork. Now you've got Dell brought back up and Hauser likely to... I would think he'd get a game depending on how long these guys are all going to be out. But it's been a rough go for the Buffalo Sabres. Now, on to the Evander Kane soap opera. So what's being reported by Elliot Friedman is the reason he's not... One of the reasons he may not be signed right now is that the NHL is investigating the fact that he entered Canada on December 29th. He had tested positive on December 21st. Now, there are a lot of hoops you have to jump through crossing the border either way right now. And I think there's more to it than just whether or not he should have been isolating because it was 8 days out or whatever. There are a few things they could be investigating here. Because if he flew in on a private jet, it is possible that he flew in and he got around some regulations here. And so the NHL's doing its due diligence on this. And this is apparently one of the reasons why San Jose terminated his contract. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I honestly... We'll see. It definitely sounds like he's going to get signed, though, once this clears up. But it may be delaying the signing. So the National Hockey League's looking into what he's doing. The one thing I'll say is I've seen people saying that Kane's getting picked on with this. Kane's the only one doing it, though. Like, this isn't something that we've seen other players doing. So from a National Hockey League perspective, we'll see how things turn out with Kane. I'd honestly love to spend the next 2 years not talking about Evander Kane and news stories other than goals, assists, signing, that kind of thing, and just leave it at that. But we're where we are. Tuukka Rask is going to start tomorrow for the Boston Bruins. So tonight it'll be Ullmark against the Montreal Canadiens, and tomorrow night they'll go to Tuukka Rask. I'm kind of surprised they don't go with Rask to start against Montreal. There's a tradition there. Be kind of fun to see him against Montreal, but yeah, so we'll see how it goes when Rask is back. And I mean, there really isn't any harm to this. Like, let's say that Rask plays really poorly for Boston, then you call Swayman back up. You've got Swayman and Ullmark. You're fine. So we'll see how things go with Rask. Winnipeg hasn't played in a while. A lot of Canadian teams haven't, and they're dealing with a team outbreak currently. What's compounding that outbreak is that it's at the AHL level as well. I believe it's Sarah Orlesky that was retweeting information from the Manitoba Moose about how many players they've got that are currently in protocols as well. So Winnipeg is not in a position right now that once they start playing again, there may be a lot of players at the AHL level they can't call up. And this is part of the reason why teams have been shut down as opposed to other teams that haven't been, is whether or not they have enough healthy bodies to call up and put in the lineup. So, yeah, that's where we're at with the Winnipeg Jets. Hopefully things get better for them as soon as possible, and we start seeing more and more games from the Canadian teams. Kind of missing them playing right now. But, and then Vancouver plays last night, and it's like, oh, right, and it's in Florida. Anyways, that happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.